Well, the big story coming from the state of Karnataka, the Karnataka Cabinet has now cleared the Karnataka Regulation of Use of Government Premises and Public Property Bill 2026. In simple terms, the Congress government wants a law governing how private individuals, organizations, associations and societies use government property. So, from government land and buildings to playgrounds, parks as well as roads, there will be a prescribed permission process, and unauthorized use can invite action, and misuse or damage to public property can also attract penalties. The bill has cabinet approval now and is expected to be brought before the legislature very soon. The new bill seeks to replace an executive order with a statutory framework. In other words, put the permission regime on the strength of a law rather than merely a government order. But if the bill talks about all organizations, why is everyone only talking about the RSS? The Karnataka Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar says that this is a bill that applies to one and all. It is more about rules and accountability and not about one organization, as the critics of the bill seem to be arguing.
ಯಾರೇ ಆಗಲಿ ನೀವೇ ಆಗಲಿ ನಾವೇ ಆಗಲಿ ರಸ್ತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಪಕ್ಷ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಅಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ಕೇಳದೆ ನುಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಗರದಲ್ಲಾಗಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗಲಿ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ದಾಖಲೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಬೈರೇಗೌಡರು ಅವ್ರ ನೇತೃತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್. ಅವರು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಪೊಲೀಸಿಗೆ ಬರೋದು ಏನು ಎತ್ತ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬೇಕು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿ ಬೇಕು ಅರ್ಜಿ ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 1,000 ಜನ 10,000 ಜನ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಲೆಕ್ಕಾಚಾರ ಇರಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಹೊರತು ಬೇರೆ ಏನೇನಿಲ್ಲ.
Well, we have some more breaking news pertaining to this bill now, and we managed to in fact access the contents of the bill that's now been put together and approved by the Karnataka Cabinet. It's expected to be introduced in the Legislative Assembly very soon. It's a bill that seeks to regulate and control use of government premises. The copy has been accessed, so this basically calls for prior permission for the use of government property, prohibition of unauthorized use. There'll be penalties involved as well if such a violation is brought to light. There's power of entry, inspection as well as eviction. So any government property that is sought to be used by a private organization for any event, prior permission will of course have to be taken. The government also reserves the right to inspect and also evict in the event that a violation has been found, and also impose penalties in the event that a violation has been detected. Let me go across to Imran for more on this. Now, Imran, this is an interesting debate because any government, especially because in our federal structure, law and order is in the domain of the state government, any government has the right to come out with a set of laws providing for norms that need to be put together vis-a-vis permission to be granted when government land is sought to be used by private organizations. That's how the Karnataka government led by D.K. Shivkumar is now defending the bill. Why the critics of this particular bill saying that the RSS will be targeted in the event that this bill becomes law?
Well, Siddhartha, if you go back to the background of it, when this was introduced, it was the order which was given on 2025 in Chittapur, where Home Minister Priyank Kharge's constituency, where RSS was carrying out an event, and one public ground was used by the RSS for the RSS event. That's when the entire controversy started. In fact, it's a rule there, but it was enforced and it was brought into controversy since then. It was challenged later by several people in the court, and the court had struck it down, and it was Dharwad bench of the Karnataka High Court had struck it down, saying that this is cannot be implemented. Now, through the legislation mode, through the bill, the government is trying to bring it. So, while the government is saying it is not particularly aimed at RSS per se, but the background of it will lead into a lot of controversy, and many see that bill as as in the backdrop of it targeted towards the RSS. Now, whereas Priyank Kharge has been upbeat about asking RSS about their documents, why it is not a registered organization, how is the source of funding is coming from international, from abroad, from India. He wants this government is also, Priyank Kharge earlier said that he's studying the entire on the RSS organization itself. Now we've seen that there has been no in the backdrop of this coming of it, with this be seen as is a controversial issue. Now the Priyank Kharge says that it is not particularly targeted towards RSS. Nowhere it's a bill mentioned about RSS.
Okay.
It's only about using government facilities and government aided institutions, facilities being used by non-political and non-religious organizations. There should be a curbing on that. It should not be interpreted as only towards RSS, but that's not how the opposition is seeing it because of the history of it.
Absolutely, and one of the people associated with that history is Mr. Priyank Kharge, who's also a cabinet minister in Karnataka. Now, he's now posed the question, is the word RSS even there in the bill? That's the question that Priyank Kharge seems to be asking. Remember that in the past, he's called on the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh to be transparent about its finances, among other things as well. He said if there is an issue, the bill will be fixed. He's also made a sarcastic jibe at the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh as well. Let's listen to what Priyank Kharge had to say about all of this.
The session is going on, the assembly is on. Come here, debate. If there are any shortcomings in the bill, I will correct it. I'm just following Supreme Court's order, High Court's order on regulating public spaces and government playgrounds, government lands, government roads. You have a problem, you let the BJP people do whatever they want in their house, in their in Keshav Krupa, in Jagannath Krupa, or whatever their bhavans are called. I have no problem with that. But I have not mentioned anybody. Why are they guilty?